You refer to vulnerability as a problem, as a threat, something that scares you. Right? But that's a misconception of vulnerability. Right? Why? When you get to a state that being full on vulnerable is easy, then you're in your fullest power. You're the most powerful when you are okay to be full on vulnerable. Why? Because nothing can touch you. See? People that have a facade of a tough guy or whatever the facade is, doesn't matter, and they're not comfortable with being vulnerable, they have something to hide. Now, for most people, it's very easy to see. So it's very easy to touch that part of them, right?
Yeah.
When you touch that part of them, they react. When they react, they lose their power because now you're subject to somebody else's lead. You understand?
Yeah.
So when you identify the weak points of somebody else, doesn't matter what the facade, they can be the seemingly the most powerful CEO in the universe. Think Trump.
Yeah.
Is very volatile because it's very easy to people that have access to him to touch his pain points because it's visible. So people like that, they constantly in a pursuit to reestablish their power. So they're volatile. They don't have a stable center. Right? When you're comfortable being vulnerable, saying, you know what? Yeah, that doesn't feel good to me. I'm in pain now. And with no need to hide it, then you don't have pressure points.
Yeah.
Then you are you all the time. And when you are you all the time, that's the most powerful position you can get to.
Yeah.
So people don't understand, especially men, that vulnerability is when you get to your full power. It's a superpower. When you're constantly trying to hide your weaknesses, it doesn't matter how much muscle mass you amass, not going to fly. It's very easy to manipulate people like that.
Yeah.
And when you're being manipulated, you're not in power. That's it.
So when you're fully you're vulnerable, in some situations, like for example, prison, I was completely vulnerable in that state. In some way when that...
Define vulnerable.
Like going out to the prison yard and, crying and saying, guys, I'm really struggling here. I can't do this time. Like just being like open about what's inside. Because in there it's like that's weakness, and now you're preyed upon. Somebody might hit you because like stop acting like that. Like so, because I know as when I was in prison, a lot of the feelings I was having, even with my cellmate, who we usually got pretty close because we talked, we both were very guarded. Like we were like I've had cellmates and even me come back and somebody just died, and we just sit there and there's no like you say like I'm sorry, man, like I'm sorry, but that person deep down wants to cry and talk to you and tell you but they hold it in, and I've done it.
Because it's a society that it's all about facade. I mean,
yeah, it's all
know that, right?
Yeah.
But imagine that somebody would start changing that narrative, right?
Yeah.
They allow themselves to cry and still keep their guard and fight back if they need to.
Yeah.
Right? People assume that you won't fight back or you won't react if you're vulnerable, but that's not mandatory, that connection. See what I mean?
Yeah, it's completely different. Yeah.
It's only a narrative that's kind of going around that if you show emotion, you're weak. Those two are not coupled. They're not mandatory.
It's true. Because I remember once I did allow myself to be more vulnerable when I got out of solitary and I started to do the groups. we would go around in circle and men would be vulnerable and talk about things that they never talked about, share things. And it was really transformative for everybody. And then it kind of trickled into the prison yard where others wanted to do similar things. And it's like you change the culture, change the environment, but it takes one or two maybe first to start it, to be vulnerable, to set the trend, like it's okay to be vulnerable here. And yeah, so I know what you mean.
The best example for that is all kinds of elite military units. Right?
Yeah.
They know that they need to grieve. They know. It makes them stronger. It makes them more united. It makes them more powerful. Not the opposite, not suppression.
Yeah.
Right? So there is a grieving process if somebody dies. It amplifies the bond. It makes them more powerful. It's a very macho, masculine environment, yet healthier.
Yeah.
That's why they're more powerful.
Yeah.
So it's only how you frame the story. But think about it this way. What does it mean to be in your power? When you're fully aligned. What's going inside comes out the other way around, right? You're fully aligned. So all your energy is aligned, one stream. So you don't need to hide anything because you're you all the time. That's how you show up to life in your power all the time. Now, when you're comfortable being vulnerable, the emotionally tough moments do not deter you from being fully aligned. Yeah, I'm in pain inside. I have pain. That doesn't make me weak.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. You're just you're operating in your truth, like your true self. Yeah.
Exactly. So then you're more powerful, not less.